Boom.
Ah, looks
Even
good.
better lighting. Let's see. Maybe I'll use this as a substitute. Bam.
I like it. You
It's
know that?
rad.
I mean, nobody would have fucking been wearing that mask before this game came out. You know, they made that
Dude, it's
villain
true.
mainstream.
Someone made it custom made for the game after it came out. Like this is how intense people think of the game. And 9
That's
million
good.
copies sold.
And
How much
behind
do you
you is
think?
that Spider-Man 2 poster?
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Spider-Man 2, newspaper autographed by the motion capture actor John Bubniak, and then lithographs of some art pieces of the game from all the studio developers from the collector's edition art book, which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I've spent like the whole last few days just working on this whole wall pretty much.
What are you,
And
like a
then,
super fan or something?
dude, yes, of course.
We already knew that.
We're
We
in the
already knew
game,
that.
my guy. I gotta get all the merch.
I know,
as
you're right.
possible.
All right, you ready?
Dude, I think so, yes.
Okay.
Even though my hair is awful, I'll roll with it.
Alrighty.
Oh. Bam. Or I can get a hat. Let's see.
Yeah, you could get a hat.
Let's see.
That's what I opted for.
Bam. In style-ish.
Yeah,
Sort of.
I like it.
My side, yeah, or backwards.
Yeah, let's do backwards. We're doing backwards.
That's why not. We're both rocking hats.
Yeah.
Go for it. Bam. Keep the dew on fleek,
Nice.
I think.
All right, you good?
Nice. I am, sir. I'm ready.
Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slick, or Slick Moth here, back again with another video. And this one doing a very interesting video, something that I've never really done on the channel before. I'm interviewing my good friend, Evan Filarca. Evan, welcome back to the channel.
What is up, true believers, Gotham Knights, fans, Slick Mafia? What is going on?
So what I thought would be really interesting is to interview the man, the myth, the legend, the founder of the Spidey Squad, the leader of the Spidey Squad, because I've known Evan since he was a little YouTube baby, you know, from his infant YouTube moments. I've known Evan since before he had 1,000 subscribers. So what
That's
I wanted
true.
to interview Evan to share with everybody else is the people that maybe haven't followed him for that long, that maybe got on the hype bandwagon as Spider-Man PS4 picked up, and we're just going to talk about before, you know, the Spidey Squad and how big of a phenomenon that was for that game and still is, and we're going to talk about Spider-Man PS4, and we'll talk about what you're up to now. All right.
Nice.
So tell everybody what you did before the Spidey Squad. So before the reveal of Insomniac Spider-Man PS4, what were you doing?
So I feel like a broken record saying it, but it is a really cool story to tell at the same time. So in my high school years, I was planning on going to San Jose State University. I got a partial scholarship, you know, fully paid tuition, everything, to that with a major in political science. And then
That's
also,
what I got.
of course, nice. See, great minds think alike.
Exactly.
And at the same time, though, covering or just even, you know, as a hobby, as a side little, you know, fun thing to do in my spare time, if I had any time while in college, just talk about and speculate anything relating to Spider-Man PS4 from 2016 to 2017, because we knew nothing about it back then, obviously. We didn't know when it was coming out, what the title was, what the gameplay was going to be like, anything. You know, and we didn't even know any of the villains that were going to be in the game, pretty much, other than Mr. Negative. And then just from then, from 2016 to 2017, I just continuously kept making videos with my iPhone and nothing else. No editing like you see today. No interviews for sure back then. No Spider-Man merch or Spidey Squad merch, nothing of the sort. No awesome Funko Pops or of any kind back then at all. But I just did it for fun because it was something that really excited me because, you know, we've never had a fully AAA Spider-Man game. You know, the last game we got was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you know how bad that was. And when we saw this, you know, I know, so bad. And when we all saw Spider-Man PS4, you know, me specifically, like I've said numerous times, I actually teared up when seeing that trailer and the music and everything. It was so cool hearing Yuri Lowenthal's voice as this new Spider-Man made by Insomniac Games, a company that I've loved ever since I was a kid, with their games like Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. And it's just like the perfect combination to feel like, you know, everything came together properly. That's when I started just doing more videos, more and more besides my major of political science. Then I actually kind of redacted that major and just kind of did like undeclared because I was a bit off put. Like maybe I don't want to do this. I do like it, but I don't know if I want to put this as my major. And then that's when I started to focus more and more on YouTube, you know, as a full-time thing. And that's where I met this wonderfully handsome man right in front of me, Slick Moth, where Slick Moth messaged me about a collab possibility with Spider-Man PS4, just talking about what we would like to see and everything, and what we think when we could see it and everything. And it was just like so honored because I've always watched Slick Moth when I was actually still in high school back in the Arkham days, and still throughout college when we were talking about, you know, Spider-Man. So it was so cool actually having him message me to collab. And yeah, like he said, it was before even 1,000 subscribers. And as you know now, I started to, you know, pursue it more and more. Now it's a official job of mine. I actually, you know, went out of my way to go out and buy proper YouTubing equipment, and editing laptop, a, you know, snowball microphone. And then I got to, you know, meet, obviously, the people at Insomniac and Marvel and interview them. And
tell
talk
everyone
to them.
how many subs you have
amazing.
now.
I currently have over 45.5 thousand subscribers, thanks to you guys out there, of course. Still not at Slick's level, almost 70K for my boy, obviously. But
hey, it's not a competition, you know.
I know, but it's still awesome seeing great content creators like Slick get recognized. And then me, I'm just honored that people actually care enough to hear my opinion about Spider-Man PS4 or just anything Spidey related, since I love the character so much. And of course, as you see, my huge memorabilia wall for everything from the game is because of all you guys supporting me on this amazing journey. And all you 45,000 subscribers are the reason why I do what I do. So thank you guys for everything. And yeah, it's just hopefully can keep growing and keep expanding. And, you know, I don't know what 29 will bring me specifically. Of course, I'll be, you know, doing more Spider-Man PS4 stuff and other Marvel games related stuff. But, you know, maybe something will happen for my, you know, content creating career or not in the future. We'll just wait and see. But I'm really excited to see what's going to come next.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a bright future ahead of you. Don't worry about that. You know, and I think for 2019, you have a lot of possibilities for what you can do. And even if a Spider-Man PS4 game isn't coming out, a new Spider-Man game isn't coming out every year, there's still all kinds of different videos you can do, and the possibilities are really endless, you know. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So let's talk about founding the Spidey Squad. And, you know, I know you just tried to give me credit, but the fact of it is that you blew up because of your passion for the game that is self-evident to everybody else, right? So you could have done it completely solo and you would still be where you're at. And what's incredible, you know, your passion is very palpable, and people like that. People like to find other people that share their passion, because we live in a world where, this is going to be kind of depressing, but sometimes people do things because of a routine, right? And they don't necessarily love their job. They don't love everything that they do, and you can sense that. So when someone comes along and they're really passionate about something, you can really sense it. And that is, in my opinion, one of the huge reasons that you were so successful. So talk about founding the Spidey Squad and what those moments were like. You know, that like month leading up to the Spidey Squad and how that all happened.
Well, it's just like so cool that this game and this character brought so many people together in general, not just the squad, but just people online saying like, oh, I would have never have met some of the closest friends I have now without Spider-Man PS4, or to another extent when they say without the Spidey Squad, which is such an honor when I hear people say that. And it was just like, you know, while I was still growing, even at like 200, 300 subscribers, I, you know, interacted with other people who I saw on YouTube who also did videos about Spider-Man PS4. Of course, credit to Legit MHX, Spidey Bugle, Vigilante Spider, Spidey Skater Boy, Spidey Stretch, Austin the Spidey Fan, Demetrius, you know, all these awesome people.
Lots of
and
Spideys.
That was when we were thought like, oh, why don't we do just one big collab about the game and then talk about our thoughts? And that just kind of happened through commenting on everyone's videos and saying, oh, really like your stuff, thanks. And then instead why don't we kind of like come together even more? Why not we, you know, get more people excited about the game, since no one knew anything about it back then, and just keep the hype alive as much as we can until it comes out. And then like, well, maybe we should make a group name about it, kind of get people more involved and get people excited continuously. It's like, oh, well, why not Spidey Society? It's all right. Spidey the Web Warriors. Like, nah, I don't know about that. I got Spidey Squad, and then we found, that's a cool name, so we just settled on that,
Yeah.
and then it grew from there. And then we had all these funny logo designs, and now we have our most iconic one in the game. But that's a whole another story. But
now
it's so cool
let's talk about that story
online through YouTube and commenting and interacting continuously while waiting for something that we're all excited for at the same time, just coming together, and because of the mutual passion we all have for this game, this character, and for each other. And I think that's just a cool, amazing thing that what the Spider-Man character as a general character has been able to do for so many people across the world, because the Spidey Squad's in America, Australia, Europe, China, Africa. Crazy enough, there's so many people worldwide about the Spider-Man character that we love, and just interact as a cool community. Just exciting for anything related to Spider-Man is such a cool thing, and I'm honored to have been and currently still be, luckily, a part of and help form with everyone else's help. It's not just me; it's a group effort. So it's just so awesome to see that so many people are in the community interacting with it, and then can also find people that share their mutual interest because of it, which is so awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now let's talk about how you built your relationship with Insomniac, right? So, interesting fun fact. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I think it's okay. But I knew about the Easter egg in the game.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man PS4 Easter egg. I remember Evan told me about it probably 5-6 months before the game came out, if I recall. A good bit ahead. And I remember he's like, okay, now, you're one of the only people that knows this, in addition to, like, some key Spidey Squad members. So, don't tell anybody. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, whoa, that is so cool. And I kept it a secret. Okay, so you didn't regret telling me. But, and then I remember when I saw it, it was incredible. But, no, I mean, so you went from, founding this little group with just a couple people that really love Spider-Man. And how did you get from that to being in Spider-Man PS4, your organization?
It's a whole amazing process, honestly. It's, again, like, it's not an easy task at all, and it's, again, all because of Insomniac and Marvel wanting to do that for the community, because they see how passionate everyone is for Spider-Man, for the game, for the developers in general, and then they want to show back their appreciation for, taking so long to work on the game. And obviously the whole news drought from 2016 to 2017, where we knew nothing, and we thought it was going to be at some events, and it wasn't there. It was a no-show, so we were just left waiting in the dark, unknown about what is happening with the game, when we can see more. And as a thank you from them to us, from the bottom of their hearts, made it custom for the Spidey Squad, which, of course, as you hear in the game, Spider-Man himself, Yuri Lowenthal, says, my one and only fan club. When Jameson's going off on me, it helps to remember they're out there, which is the coolest thing, and made me cry like a wimp when I heard it the first time, because I did not know they were going to do it as a backpack. Because how it goes down is that, I did my videos from 2016 to 2017 with my iPhone, and then from 2017 to 2018 I had a laptop. But in February of 2018, the art director of Insomniac, Jacinda Chu, messaged me on Twitter about it, saying, "Oh, Evan, just want to say hi, and also, who makes your logo for the Spidey Squad?" And I said, "Oh, hi, Jacinda, so cool to talk to you again. It's actually Spidey Bugle, huge shout out, of course, who makes all of our awesome logo art and for the Spidey Squad on Twitter and YouTube and everything."
Right.
And she says, "Awesome. Now, don't freak out, but we're going to put you in the game." And I literally
proceeds to freak out. Yeah.
I literally flipped over my desk table where I edited everything. I'm like, I literally told all my family members and everything, like, this is so cool. And then, of course, I told you about it. And, of course, you were like one of the first people to actually help me out back then when I was so small, and actually noticed me as a small-time YouTuber. And again, it's all because the people at Marvel and Insomniac and PlayStation and Sony, who I've all been lucky enough to meet the majority of at like E3 and Comic-Con and these other gaming conventions like GDC, they really care about the fans and what the people want from the game, and the consumers, obviously, who are spending their time and money to go out and buy the game and play it. And that was such a cool thing from them to actually implement it in the game to acknowledge not just the fans of the Spidey Squad and the squad themselves, but just the community itself as a whole. The Spider-Man community just being so kind-hearted to them, working on the game, saying, take your time. We want the best Spider-Man game ever. We know that you'll do a great job. Obviously, that's why we say hashtag in Insomniac we trust, because we do trust that they're going to make such a great experience since they are themselves major Spider-Man fans. And that's why Brian Intar and Becca McIntosh and Bill Roseman and Jacinda Chu and Gavin Gould, everyone from Insomniac and Marvel, wanted to put that in the game to give credit to the fans that made it possible for them to make such a great game. And of course, it's like nuts that they even did that, because they said Easter egg. I'm like, okay, usually Easter eggs would be like a small little tiny thing that would be really hard to notice. You got to maybe look in a certain part of the city, maybe some graffiti on a wall to notice. No, it's an actual collectible item that huge, amazing, shout out to Dustin Brown, who is one of the amazing animators and, designers at Insomniac, who made that pin from scratch, who rendered and modeled the pin from scratch at Insomniac and put that in the game as a collectible backpack that you get experience for, you unlock a suit for when you get all the backpacks, and Spider-Man himself, Yuri Lowenthal, actually knows about the Spidey Squad and says that he loves the Spidey Squad from the bottom of his heart, and it's just so amazing that's
really
case.
Cool. Okay, what's your least favorite part about being a YouTuber in general?
That's a really good question. Being a YouTuber is obviously something that I'm really honored to do full time, but at the same time, obviously, there's a lot of, not downsides, but a lot of things to handle when being online 24/7, pretty much, since that is my job. Is that I wake up, I go online, I check and see if there's any news regarding things that I'm covering, like Spider-Man, Avengers, or anything else that I feel like talking about. And the downside of it is that either sometimes it's a slow, news day, or something that I'm kind of in like a creative, block. Like I want to do also like video essays, or just topic discussions for other types of things. And sometimes it's hard to kind of like think of how to say things, get words properly that can fit into a good video, not drag it out too long, but also make sure that I'm kind of saying, things that I want to say and not mess up what I'm saying. And also, if you get sick, like a sore throat, that obviously is like the worst part, because then it totally affects YouTubing, to make videos in like a good way, to not sound super, exhausted or have a strainy voice. But also, of course, the biggest downside is drama. Sometimes there's drama online, revolving around certain YouTubers that you got to deal with, that obviously no one wants to be involved with. It just sometimes happens, sadly. And then some people misinterpret certain situations that occur. And then for me, since I'm, kind of the main community manager of the Spidey Squad, I make sure that whatever you see on the Spidey Squad's Twitter, almost all the time, I'm always the one posting it. So I'm trying to make sure the squad is doing its own thing. I'm doing my own thing. Everyone's getting along within the community. So for me personally, it's a lot to manage all at once. But mainly when drama occurs and then the group is put into a bad, light, or an incorrect light, it kind of reflects poorly on not just us as a community, but also in a bigger sense, Spider-Man PS4, because it's like, oh, the toxicity of this community is making me not want to play the game, when that's not true at all. It's just a few minority of people who are just being kind of jerks to others online, which don't even, relate to the Spidey Squad as a group, because we always, support people interacting kindly with one another, and we don't support drama that hurts others. So for me, I always kind of get online. I have other things to do in my daily life, not just this, but other kind of side tasks I do, run errands for my family. I'm also a registered lifeguard at my local pool, my city pool, so I also go there from time to time. And yeah, it just kind of affects what I want to do sometimes. Sometimes if I wanted to work on a video, I may have to kind of resolve a drama problem that's happening, or just, make sure I'm doing things properly and make sure my setup is okay. So it's a lot of things to handle at once, but at the same time, it still is very rewarding when being able to do stuff like that.
No, I mean, I totally understand about the creativity part is challenging, because especially with me, consider my situation covering Batman games, right? There hasn't been one for 4 years, right? So it's hard to, when you want to talk about things. And there's also a challenge where sometimes I personally can feel a little boxed in to talking about a specific topic. And right now, I love talking about the Batman Arkham games, but there's periods where there's no news, and I feel like I've covered everything. I don't have anything to think about to say.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes feel a little boxed into one topic. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've already been experienced that because people like just flat out label me as the Spider-Man PS4 channel, which I don't mind at all since I'm in the game twice. The Spidey Squad pin and my own name is actually written on a whiteboard in a side mission for Spider-Man PS4, so I don't mind at all. And also, I've been lucky enough to interact with all these amazing developers from Insomaniac and Marvel, so I don't mind what people label me. But absolutely what you're saying is totally correct. Like when you want to maybe branch out and cover something else that maybe no one has seen you talk about before, it may not get a lot of attention since people only know you as, oh, you cover Batman, you cover Spider-Man, you cover, Superman, whatever, They only see you for the content you make and not for you as the creator. So that is kind of not a problem, but just like that is something that you will experience if you do end up doing YouTube for other people out there who may want to, get into this business or this kind of job that you can do in a really cool way. And there's so many amazing perks and things to do. And obviously, if you want to create your channel about something you're passionate about, obviously go for it. But like, Slick Muff just said, obviously, there will be times that depending on what you cover, there may not be anything to cover. And that might make your job a bit more difficult to come up with something that you think that you want to make, while at the same time your fans will enjoy. Because it's also, you got to keep that in mind as well. Like, I could do this video that I want to do, but at the same time, will my audience like it? And that's where you got to factor in a lot when doing YouTube. So there is a lot of ins and outs with that, but it's still a really interesting process to go through when working on stuff like this.
And another thing, not to linger on the YouTube topic too long, but another thing that every YouTuber has experienced, and I know that you'll relate to it because every YouTuber can relate to it, is you can work a huge amount of time on a video and it doesn't get that much support. People don't really love it. It doesn't get a lot of views, whatever the issue is. And then there's another video you feel like, that wasn't really that good of a video, and you upload it and it like blows up and you're just like, why did my really good video not get any views,
Yeah. I feel that all the time. Like the videos I did back in 2017 where I was still figuring out how to edit with my laptop, and it was like one of my first edited videos I've ever done, and I was like really excited about it, and I knew it wasn't getting a lot of attention, but then all of a sudden it did get a lot of attention. It was the one about the swinging, how I think Spider-Man PS4 swinging will beat Spider-Man 2's, and that's the one that kind of launched my channel and got noticed by Insomniac and Marvel. And while I love that video, I look back at it and I'm like, wow, I really could have shortened this down about 10 minutes or so and could have edited way better.
I remember that video. It was pretty long. I remember that.
It was 25 plus minutes long.
It's a good video though, because I like it. I like the editing, and I do like to see those videos that are high effort. But sometimes it's just quirky because you can do it and you feel like you did it for nothing,
Yeah. And back then I thought this is pretty good because that was like one of my first experiences editing. But now, since I'm actually fully used to editing, using Sony Vegas and what people are looking for, and commentary and talking about stuff about the game, I'm like, oh yeah, I could have done this way better. But that's a cool thing too, like you said, because then that way you can improve on what you yourself have done. You see how you've changed in the past years, like, oh, I've gotten much better at this, or oh, maybe I can work on this a bit more. So it's a really cool process as a YouTuber to discover your strengths and weaknesses when editing and commentating, and that's something that's really cool to discover as you keep going forward.
Definitely. Do you ever get this is going to be a dumb question, I know the answer is yes, but do you ever get negative comments? And I ask this because the Spidey Squad is so positive. It's such a happy positive group. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a part of it?
Well, thank you.
You get negative comments, I'm sure sometimes. What do people say about you? Do people ever tell you that they think that you are too favorable towards Insomniac? In other words, like you're too much of a fanboy or like too much of a fan?
Yeah, I've gotten those a lot. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Again, the thing is, though, they don't... if they say that, then obviously it's their opinion, so I can't change it. But at the same time, like with this, they don't know the full situation that I've been in like you do. Like we were just, two YouTubers collabing at first when I was just less than 1,000, and I even didn't know that I was going to be doing YouTube full time when I was in college. And then I'm lucky enough to do it because of Insomniac and Marvel and PlayStation, Sony, which is why I'm so favorable towards them, or why I like them so much, is because they kind of allow me to get where I am now. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, which is weird. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, this is just clickbait, even though there's literally an entire other channel out there whose name I won't mention, who literally just posts clickbait titles for Spider-Man PS4 videos all the time, and it's ridiculous. But there's that. There's also...
I actually don't know who you're talking about. I haven't narrowed down between two people, but tell me later. Okay.
I think I know who you're talking about, but it's someone else. But that, or it's like, you got paid off by Insomniac Marvel, which is complete and utter dribble. It's not true at all. I'm lucky to be able to get the early copies for the game and the DLC that came out for the Save That Never Sleeps pack, because PlayStation knows me, because I've got to interact with them personally, and other people who work with them, and they say, oh yeah, I think Evan should be the one to talk about it before anyone else, which I'm lucky enough to be able to do. But at the same time, it's a review for a business. It's not a thing which I'm so honored to be able to do, but at the same time, it's a review copy, not like here you get it early and that's it. I actually, in return, review it early, talk about it, and it's honest. Like, I didn't like, I said this in my review too, I didn't like the stuff in Turf Wars in November, but I did like what they recently did with Silver Lining in December, and I said that like in my review, so I think they could have improved this a bit more. And it's all honest. Nothing's ever false. It's always my own opinion, but that is the thing. Like, you're just saying this to get on their good side. You suck up to them a lot. Like, well, no, because we're already talking on a personal level, and they already put us in the game, so I would have nothing else to gain just by saying that, regardless. So, or saying anything positive, I would have nothing else to gain, because it's all my genuine opinion whenever I say something positive and not, paid off or anything like that. Another thing is that, like what you said too about, creating content that you want to do, but sometimes the audience may not like it. So like, oh, the game's dead. Quit talking about Spider-Man PS4, trying to milk it. And it's like, there's actual news to talk about, so I don't know where they're coming from when they say stuff like that. But some people are like, oh, not a, negative thing, but they're just like, you ever going to talk about anything else other than Spider-Man PS4, which, yes, Avengers Project and Spider-Man movie stuff eventually once we get more info on that, and stuff that interests me, of course. Like I said, I may do stuff relating to video essays regarding either college stuff or maybe some other stuff I'm thinking about talking about relating to superheroes in general, not just Spider-Man, but superheroes as a main staple on our society in general, which I think is a really cool thing to talk about. Superhero culture and everything. But yeah, like negative comments, you also get like stuff like, well, I can just go to this other channel. You're copying this. You're not as good as this other YouTuber out there. And it's just like, those comments are just people, again, who don't know me or the content that I make. And they just kind of take the opinion of another content creator and then try and mix that with what they're thinking and then morph it into what they view me as or something else, So it's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to negative comments. But again, as a YouTuber at first, it will kind of like, it gets you like, why are they saying this? That's kind of dumb. But then as you keep going and reading comments from your longtime fan base that actually do know you for who you are, then you just kind of ignore the other kind of negative ones that just like, well, they're either just jealous or they don't know what they're talking about. And that's kind of how I see the negative comments. Like, you're either unaware of who we are as content creators and what we actually do and how passionate we are, or they're just being a troll, and then they're just kind of messing around. So it's just like, whatever at that point. But again, you just kind of keep doing what you do and then just keep believing in what you believe and keep, pursuing what you want to pursue, and then you'll be all good. And then it's just like baggage they just ignore.
I totally agree, and I know I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but I'll tell you, relate a little bit of what you're saying.
Wonderful questions, for sure.
Thank you. So I experience exactly what you're talking about. And one thing that's really interesting about YouTube is that it's given me very thick skin. I used to be kind of insecure. And early on in YouTube, when people would say something negative about me, it would get to me. But now I have really thick skin. So this morning, my girlfriend, she was telling me, she was like, hey, somebody left a really mean comment on your video. And she's like all upset by it. And I read it. And yeah, it's really mean. And I just laugh at it. And like, so she's bothered by it more than
Yeah.
me, even though it's a comment about me, you know? And that is a huge positive in life, to not care what other people think about you, especially people that are just trolls. But it's really interesting that you say all that, because there is people that tell me as well, the Arkham games are dead, don't talk about Batman Arkham.
Yeah.
But and I took that into to heart at one point, and I was like, yeah, like I don't want people to feel like that I'm just like milking it or whatever. I'm just making videos on it because it's popular. And what I realized is now I don't care at all what people say, and it's not about your fans. You care what your true fans and people that are really there for you think about your videos, that have constructive criticism. But the people that are just like, oh, you're just blah 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 blah, that are, you can just tell they're just nasty about it. I ignored them, and it really helped my channel to just actually do what I want to do, because as we talked about at the beginning, your passion really flows through to people. So instead of making videos about like what a small minority of people want you to make videos on because this bigger thing is dead evidently, but then you make those videos and it turns out that it's not dead because people still really love it. And it's all about making the most amount of people happy and doing what makes you happy. And if that's making Spider-Man PS4 videos, do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the same thing for anyone out there, too. Like, if there's a topic that you think is either oversaturated, like, oh, everyone's talking about X, or everyone's not talking about this thing, you know, then surprise, you have your own unique opinion on the topic, and people would want to hear that. Maybe there's something that no one's ever talked about that you were thinking about all the time. That's kind of how I was in 2016, where people were saying, oh, this is just a movie tie-in game to Homecoming, which I thought is absolutely ridiculous, or that they think that it's not going to be as big, or it's exactly like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm like, okay, these people don't know what they're talking about at all. And there was, like, of course, people like talked about it once, and then that was it. They just kind of kept it off their radar because they didn't really care. Me, I cared. Like, I slept over this game. Like, I lost sleep because of thinking about, like, oh, they could do this, they could do that, this, that. And then I was just like in awe of seeing what I was seeing. And that encouraged me to continuously make videos about it. And that's the same thing with, you know, people out there who may see a content creator say, oh, well, they only do videos on this, so if I ever want to know about this thing, I'll just go to them, but I don't really care about anything else. Then that's just their loss, because then they're missing out on the content creator themselves, who has a great personality and has really interesting opinions to offer. And that's the same thing for all the audience members as well, where they have really interesting comments that are either really supportive or really insightful, like, oh, this is a great video, I loved it, or, oh, maybe you could have covered this a bit more, or, oh, I already knew that, what else is there to know? You know, something like those comments that really get you in the mood to, like, well, yeah, maybe I could kind of talk about this in a way that they want me to talk about, or maybe I could do a bit more research or something. You know, all these different people, you know, giving their feedback and you giving your feedback to everyone is just a great circle of, you know, intuition and just, you know, thought-provoking ideas that YouTube offers to people. And I think that's just such a cool way for people to interact with each other on a more personal basis. And I think that when people just mainly look at a content creator and then just think of something like, oh, that's what they're known for, and then move on, they're missing out on way more than they think they are. You know, it's a lot of stuff to really go in and immerse yourself with a content creator or a YouTuber that you really like and what they do, and post continuously. And I think that's something really cool that YouTube does for people.
Definitely. All right, we're going to do quick fire questions, okay? I'm just thinking these off the top of my head. Question number 1. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, but there is someone who I do know from my high school years that we have kept in contact. Hi, Kyra.
The answer to this question is a yes. It's a yes, boys. Hashtag confirmed. No, I'm just kidding.
Not official yet, but no. But I do have another good friend out there, Danielle, who she and I, hang out a lot. And she knows about the channel too and the squad, and she's really supportive of it. But other than that, no, because I'm really just mainly occupied on the channel, and of course my own growth with the subscribers and everything, and trying to think of new ideas for the channel. But other than that, I know it's a rapid fire question. I'm giving a long answer, but yeah, short answer,
okay.
No. Another answer is just I have two really great friends that are girls. So
Good. Okay,
good.
if Insomniac was making a Marvel game besides Spider-Man, what game would you want it to be?
I love this question because I think it's really interesting to think of what if Sucker Punch made Spider-Man, who are the developers of Infamous, and then that was the big rumor. And then, what if it wasn't Insomniac? What would they have worked on? I honestly think either Iron Man or maybe not Deadpool, but I could see them doing Deadpool because of Sunset Overdrive, because they break the fourth wall a lot in that game. So I could honestly see them doing like a really high-quality Deadpool game. But given all the cool stuff we saw in Spider-Man PS4 with what they can do with storytelling, visual animation, everything, I think either Deadpool or Iron Man or maybe Captain America. I could see them kind of doing something like that with his shield and the combat with that. I think that could work really cool. But those three I think would be my choices.
Definitely. Okay, if you could live anywhere besides where you live now, where would you want to be? Like Florida?
Probably Burbank. Right now I'm in Pacifica, California, near San Francisco.
Yeah.
Really foggy, and also a really big homeless problem in San Francisco as well. So it's kind of crummy to see the city like that sometimes. But Burbank is where all the cool tech stuff happens for the games and the industries out there. Certain company, Insomniac, that are out there and located there, that I think I personally, if I were to move somewhere else, that would be where I want to be, because it's always like the more techie industry of stuff that's always evolving and metamorphosizing in a really cool way. And I would definitely like to be there if I was not here.
Have you ever thought about being like a game designer or anything? Or not really?
I mean, I can't draw for the life of me, so I couldn't be a character artist at all. If anything, a game designer was something that I was interested in as a kid. But that's kind of like the same thing. Like, I want to make games, or I want to be an astronaut or a fireman, kind of like those lists of always the dream going job choice. Me, I'm just like, I think I'd be cool to make a level or something about a certain game, but I never really wanted to focus on it as a profession because I thought I wouldn't be too good at it. But as you see right now, I'm really good at publicly speaking, and I'm also really good at interacting with communities. So if in a gaming sense, if there was a community position or just interacting with people online for a certain company, just in general, I would be totally down for that. Kind of like more of the PR side of stuff. I'd be totally looking forward into positions or something like that.
All right, what if Insomniac came to you and was like, we want to buy
Uncle Sam.
We want to buy the Spidey Squad from you for $1 million, but you can't be involved in it anymore. We're kicking you out. What would you say?
I would say.
You can never talk about Spider-Man again. No, you're not. You don't get a position.
True.
You're just getting booted.
It's nothing.
Yeah,
just
nothing.
Take that and then they leave.
No more Spider-Man.
I mean,
you gotta say no.
Man, probably not, because as much as I love everyone at Insomniac and Marvel, how much they love the squad.
They wouldn't do that.
I know they would, but in like a social network thing, they Zuckerberg me.
Exactly.
Or they Eduardo Savern me. They just cut me off, and I'm like, oh snap, I'm just done for. That's a big thing to think about, because you don't want to sound too pretentious, but at the same time, you think about, well, it is something that I've spent 2 years of my life working on and really passionate about and really thoughtful towards, and is something that I pay attention to every day, is a community that I'm lucky enough to have founded with all these other amazing people. And seeing how it's in the game now is crazy. But if they wanted to kind of go that, even further and say, well, we want it as a full-time item in our universe, but you can't really run anymore because that's a Marvel thing and not an Evan thing. I get that. But at the same time, I would say maybe not, because I, pour my heart and soul in the Spidey Squad every day, and so many people love interacting with the community, and I love being able to just kind of, interact with people how I would want to, and other people do too, and have no restrictions on it other than just, obviously treat others with respect. So with that said, probably not. I would just keep it, and that's the squad as well. They would want to keep it too. But, who knows if there's some deal that could be made. I don't know. But with that, just full rights given away, and I would have nothing to do with it, probably not. I would say no.
Okay, one final question. What is the piece of entertainment that you were the most excited for this year? What are you looking
This
forward to
year,
the most?
besides our boy Batman in Arkham 2019, founded by the Gotham Knights, the greatest community out there. Don't at me.
You're a co-founder, right?
Am I?
Yeah, duh.
Dude,
come on.
Let's go.
You can get
Gotham Knights.
I mean, you're a Spidey guy, but you like Batman, you know? Like, you're in, you know?
That's the thing. And that's another thing. Like, people just think, oh, because you talk about Spider-Man PS4 all the time, you don't like anything else, when that's not the case. I love Batman. I love the Justice League. I love the Avengers. I love, superhero movies in general. I love even the geek culture surrounding it in general, regardless of superheroes. But yeah.
All right, so now you're a co-founder with me, Salvo, a bunch of other people, okay? Arkham
well,
Channel.
You guys are going to run it way better than I will, since you know way more about Batman than me. But I'm honored.
You're still in, though. You're still in.
I'm ready.
All right,
Arkham
good.
2019, boys. Let's make it happen.
Let's get it trending.
For life. Let's get it trending. Let's get. I swear, and I said this on Twitter. If there's no Gotham Knights Easter egg in Arkham 2019, I'm not getting it. It's not worth my time. No, but that is going to be so cool seeing you guys continue to grow, and I'm so excited to see you guys prosper. But for me, besides, if it happens, which I'm sure it will, Arkham 2019, I would say probably either, I guess Days Gone, which is another PS4 exclusive coming out. It's about kind of like zombies, freakers, as the developers call them, which looks interesting. Mortal Kombat 11, I'm not really good at fighting games, but it still looks pretty awesome. And if it comes out, the Avengers Project, whenever that is, apparently there's rumors and teases going around right now that Square Enix, Eidos Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and Marvel are all hiring PR people to help start marketing soon, I hope. But at the same time, Square Enix takes a long time to put out their games, so it may not come out this year, it may come out next year. But if it does come out this year, then I am very excited for it. And also, I guess, Ultimate Alliance 3, I like the original Ultimate Alliance games. I was never a huge fan of them. Same thing with this new one. It looks interesting. Would I go out to buy a Nintendo Switch for it? Probably not. But at the same time, I am curious to see what the game is going to be like. So I might get it. But other than that, nothing else that really intrigues me at the moment other than that. But if something else as a surprise announcement could come out this year, like one of those other big PlayStation games like Death Stranding, that'd be cool. But other than that, Batman, Ultimate Alliance, and Days Gone are my top 3 for this year.
I am really surprised you didn't say Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, well, I thought you meant just games. For
No, just I said entertainment. Would that be number
general,
1?
Yeah, sure. Far From Home, totally for movies. Yeah, of course, yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And Avengers Endgame, of course. Even though the teaser did nothing for me, I'm like, oh, they're making the new Avengers movie. That's cool. Far From Home, I don't know when we're getting that trailer, but yeah, that's going to be cool. And I guess TV shows, Young Justice, season 3, I think. That's out now, I think. It's awesome.
Just the first couple episodes.
And I think that's it pretty much. Marvel stuff, definitely going to be talking about Far From Home, of course. But I think that mainly for movies and games, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, and one last thing about Avengers is you might have seen that Kevin Feige said that the trailers for the movie are only going to come from the first 15 minutes of the movie. Did you see him say that? So it doesn't really surprise me that the teaser didn't excite you, but think about the majority,
what could happen.
A huge chunk of the movie we're not even going to see a second of in the trailer.
Nice.
So it's going to be a huge surprise.
Awesome.
Evan, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry if I kept you for too long. We're going at almost an hour, but this has been great fun.
We did do this sooner because I was so busy with the other stuff.
No worries at all. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope everyone watching enjoyed it as well. That is Evan Filarca, founder, president, and CEO of the Spidey Squad. Thank you all so much for watching. Evan, any final remarks?
I will actually have a final remark, is that first off, please subscribe to my boy Slick and of all the other Gotham Knights out there, Iron Gin Gamer, Salvage, and I think 2 other Arkham related channels out there.
Yeah.
They totally deserve your support because they give you great content related to Batman. And also, I will say, this Saturday on the 12th of January, if you are in the San Francisco area, go check out the Warbly Jets, who, if you don't know, they have the opening song to Spider-Man PS4 of Alive in the very opening of Spider-Man PS4 where he's in his apartment and everything. They're the band that made that song. And this Saturday, I'm actually going to be able to attend their show and interview them and actually do a live stream playing the game with them. So it's going to be really, really cool. And if you are a fan of music and Spider-Man PS4, I totally recommend that you go out and go see the show. Tickets are on their website, but it's going to be really, really awesome. And hopefully I can answer your questions on the live stream if they happen, if it happens, but I'm sure it will. But it's going to be really, really fun, and the show is going to be awesome. And I can't wait.
Man. Yeah, that'll be awesome. We'll be sure to tune into that. That's going to be sweet. Evan, thanks again so much for coming on. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, of course, give it a thumbs up. Mine was Slick Moth. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, true believers.